You just have to take that arm off?
Yeah.
Can I try?
No, I got it.
Oh, you got it.
What's up, people at the interweb? So a couple days ago I received a package from Slovakia, and in that package contained these hybrid bars. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but more importantly, they sent a delicious treat straight from Slovakia.
They have a peanut on there.
That is an awfully weird texture. They actually taste decent.
They look like tater tots.
The texture's just weird. Interesting. But anyways, I got these hybrid arms for the Scout. So what we got here is these arms are basically suspension for the paramotor. It's what connects the paraglider to the motor, to the harness, to everything. So basically up top here, we got what they call the gooseneck arms, and down here is the hybrid arm. So the hybrids compared to the goosenecks, what it's supposed to be is just outrageous weight shift. And I'll talk about weight shift more when I get in the air, but basically that just gives you more control over the glider. There's a really good explanation by Miroslav, the designer of Scout. I'll link up like a card up here to that video. He's actually got a whole series of like unbiased paramotor engineering videos, and they talk about what went into the design of the Scout, so definitely check those out. Anyways, I'm gonna get those attached. We'll head down to the park and we'll do some testing and see how they fly. All right, so we're about ready to go down here at the park. I got the hybrid bars on. It actually took a bit longer than I expected, and we're running up on sunset, so I'm gonna whip out my secret weapon, the strobe, so I can fly half an hour after sunset. I'll show you guys the bars real quick. So this is what it looks like. Carabiner hangs up really nice and high on that piece of webbing, and got these sleek little bars going on. Should be sweet. I'll talk about it more once I get in the air, but huge shout out to the guys at Scout for sending those over. Oh, also, I got this sick fuel can. Looks like a giant baby bottle. If you're a paramotor pilot, you need one of those. They're pretty sick. I'll put a link in the description to the Amazon for those, so check it out, and let's get in the air. Okay, so you can see, hopefully, the floppiness to these hybrid bars presents a little bit of a challenge on launch. Now, I have flown with these before, and I'll describe my thoughts once we get going here. So the first thing I notice, when you hold the A's, your arms are way farther up and out. Now I'm just gonna send it. Ready? Steady, go.
Oh boy. Those bleachers.
Alright, that was pretty uneventful. Yeah, buddy. Just like I remember. So, it's kind of a completely different animal with the hybrids on here. And I'll explain a little bit. I've flown these before, last summer, right before the Oshkosh Air Show. And I wanted to test them out and see what they were all about. But I didn't have quite enough time to get real comfortable and confident on them. So that's the plan now, is I want to get comfortable with these and see if there's something that I want to leave on for 100% of my flights. There are advantages and there are disadvantages to them. I'm gonna get out here a little bit more. Hopefully we'll escape the rotor. Meanwhile, let's talk about weight shift. If you don't fly paramotors, you might not know what weight shift is. And weight shift in the paramotor world, it's kind of controversial, I guess. Some people say it's the best thing, some people say you don't need it. But if you look at paragliders that fly without a motor off of a mountain, their harnesses are very, very simple. It's basically just a harness around your body, and you clip in like close to your hip joints. And what that means is when you're flying, you're kind of reclined, and you roll your body left and right, and that aids in steering versus pulling your brake toggles. When you pull the brake toggle, you deform the trailing edge of the wing. Now that's really effective, but it also means you have a loss of energy in your wing because you're deforming it to a certain point. If you pull too hard, you eventually stall the one side of your wing and spin. But the advantage of weight shift in both paragliding and paramotoring is that you gain efficiency by using your weight shift. When you put more weight on one side like that and you roll your body, you deform the wing in a different way. If this was your wing, right half and left half, you're actually deforming your wing like this rather than this. So what that means is you're not robbing energy from your wing because you're not creating any extra drag. When you pull a brake toggle, you create drag. Now in the paramotor world, some paramotors are actually designed with no weight shift. And some people fly them and they love them and they say you don't need weight shift. But on the other hand, some people, like how this Scout is designed, it's designed with weight shift in mind a lot. My personal preference, I've always flown units that have weight shift, and I like it. All right, so let's talk about these hybrids. The idea of the hybrid bar is to gain more weight shift than the gooseneck. How they do that, I honestly don't really know. Watch that video I talked about in the beginning where Miroslav talks about it. He's the expert in the design. These hybrid arms give you massive amounts of weight shift. In my initial test flights of them, I noticed that big time. Now the disadvantage is it takes away a good amount of the torque compensation that the Scout offers. So on that launch, I don't know if you could notice, it was a little bit sketchy because when you take off, you're going really slow and you have a lot of power, and that's like the worst situation for torque. So it really, it actually tries to spin you onto the risers, and it closes that gap between the cage and the lines there. And that's what I didn't like about them initially, and that's what I hope to overcome in flying them more often. Look at this. That was like all weight shift, and the wing dives like crazy. So the other situation that I can feel the lack of torque compensation because of the hybrid arms is when you climb, you feel it turn you to the right. Now, there's a couple different ways to weight shift, and I'll demonstrate a little bit. I can't really use the foot cam because I can't weight shift with my foot out very effectively. So hands off of the brakes, you can weight shift just by lifting one leg and pressing down the other. And see, I got a left turn going on. If you want to get more dramatic, you can put one leg all the way over the other and put tons of weight on that right riser. And I'll just fly around in a circle, hands off of the brakes. I can come back to neutral. And then if you really want to get like super aggressive, you can shift your whole body like onto the riser, one leg over the other, and look, no brakes, and I'm just flying in a left circle. Like, that's an absurd amount of weight shift. So the proper way, I guess you could say, to use weight shift when you're flying is if you're going to initiate a turn, it's look, lean, pull. So if I wanted to go left, I'd look, I'd lean, get that weight shift in, and then I'd pull brake and do whatever maneuver it is that I wanted to do. Enough with, I feel like this video is totally educational at this point, talking about weight shift, what it is. I say we have some fun. I'm gonna climb up back into the sunlight and we'll try some acro over this field. Looks like I found the wind gradient. I'm about parked right here. It's beautiful out right now. Just a little bit windy, a little bit turbulent down low, but I think it should calm down more once the sun sets. I was just thinking, another disadvantage, I guess you could say, and it could be an advantage too, depending how you look at it, of the hybrids versus the goosenecks. You have more control to the glider, but in turn that means the glider has more control to you. So when you fly in turbulent conditions, you feel every little movement. It feels way more nervous flying in turbulent conditions because the arms are just jumping around and you feel every little twitch that the air has. For a general pilot, that's probably not an enjoyable experience. It's not a smooth ride, but if you're flying in calm conditions, it doesn't make any difference. Let's give this a shot. I guessed on my hang point. I went on the second to last one, and I think I could go forward one because my angle is like perfectly vertical, if not tipped forward a little bit. I could move it forward. I might do that. I think I'll land after a little bit, and I'll switch my hang point and see if it's any better. All right, I'm gonna do some wing overs and then maybe a barrel roll, and we'll really focus on the weight shift. Left barrel roll. Oh, dude, that's so much easier. Let's try a right one. Yeah. It's a little bit weird because my hang point isn't perfect right now. I feel like I'm gonna fall out of the front of the harness because my seatboard's like level instead of slightly reclined. I think I'm gonna head back to the park and I'll switch my carabiner arrangement around and see if it feels any better. Alright, I'm just gonna land in the middle of this soccer field. And I'll have plenty of room to get back up off the ground. Dude, the grass here is so soft. Let's make this adjustment. Make sure I do it right. The carabiner. There we go. There we go. There goes Jacqueline, trotting by like a magnificent horse. Let's give her a shot. Interesting. Now I actually feel slightly more reclined than the gooseneck bars. It's undoubtedly more comfortable. I'm leaning back a little bit more, but I feel like, I don't know, it's leaning back more than the goosenecks, so we'll see how it feels in some acro. I'm gonna get above this hill. There is so much movement in these, it's crazy. It actually kind of feels like sitting on an exercise ball, which is kind of what it feels like in a paragliding harness. You know, in Evansville, I was talking to the guys, and we were talking about like Vipers versus free rides and what wings we like, and we kind of came to the conclusion, I feel like in this sport, people really like what they're used to, and it goes for wings, motors, throttles, anything that you either learn on or that you have a lot of experience on, you really tend to prefer. And it's weird because if I try a different throttle, I don't like it. A different configuration, it just feels so awkward to me. When Kyle said he flew the free ride 15 for the first time, he said he didn't like it because it was much different than what he was really used to. But then as he got more time on it, then he really grew to like it. And I think that's probably what I'm feeling with these right now. Initially, right now, it's really different. I'm not used to this much weight shift. I know it's an advantage having a lot of weight shift, but I'm not really used to it yet. And I'm not used to the launches, and I'm not used to the nervous feedback from turbulence. But I really want to give them a fair shot and put at least 10 hours on them and see if my opinion changes, because I know as I fly it more and more, it'll feel more and more comfortable, and then I'll really be able to sort out the advantages from the disadvantages and see if I want to keep them on here, or maybe I'll switch back to the goosenecks. I don't know. In my previous night flying video, I stretched it to a full half an hour after sunset, and it got really freaking dark. I don't want to go that far this time. I've got a decent bit of altitude. Pretty much stuck in the wind gradient up here, but I think it's dark enough for now. Let's see how it feels to just do a straight barrel, no power, weight shift left brake, very easy. I think I've had enough fun. Let's go for trims out. I'm gonna try to swoop behind the tree and not hit Jacqueline because I see she's standing there, probably with the camera. Swoop in the parking lot. Ew! I always anticipate that the grass is gonna be wet. It wasn't wet. Jacqueline makes fun of me because I laugh every time I land. I have that stupid giggle. Did you see that sick, nasty swoop, yo? Well, I guess that about sums it up. I'm probably gonna fly these for at least 5 or 10 hours, and then I'll probably get back with my thoughts on them. Yeah, it's a weird experience. Like I was saying, it's like tons of weight shift, but I don't know what to do with it yet because I'm not like fully used to it and competent, if that's the right word. But yeah, I'll give it some more practice, see how things change. But anyway, till the next one, peace out, see ya.